half time I see all the players coming off and start to cry. Donald, you with the people, Donaldson, Gina blocks and coming off the field and start to cry. I start to cry. I said, Mr. Henry, I want to go on. Yeah, so there was a lot of memorable game, and back in 1983, there were several, because actually the first game that we played, Cornwall College at Gerard Park. So remember, we were playing the Cornwall, the Herbert Morrison in their backyard in Gerard Park. So we had defeated Cornwall College 2-0 at the time. But one of our most memorable game, and even to now, you have a lot of Ruseans talk about that 1983 team, the 1985 team, and the 1978 Rusea's team. And which there are glory days, and there are some good teams. But the 1983 team, we were playing a playoff game. As a matter of fact, Robert Hendricks was our manager at the time, and I just want to say a big thank you publicly to Robert Hendricks, to Keith Richards, Nod Rary, Rickman, and those guys. They were pumping a lot of resources into Rusea's football at the time. So even when we're traveling, for a playoff game, we will leave from the night before. So we'll stay in hotels, different hotels throughout the country. I remember we used to stay at a hotel called Turkle Tower. So when we have a playoff game on a Saturday, we leave school and went straight up to St. Anne's there and stayed overnight.
Superstar.
Yeah, so so actually, I had a groin problem in 1983, and before we played Dintil, and I think Cornwall College played a game before us. And so the morning, Mr. Henry take us out early and was doing some warm-up drills, just to test to see exactly how we were feeling. And he said, listen, do a test run. And I tried to sprint, and I could not sprint. And he said, listen, you can't play today. But he said, I'm going to leave you on the bench, and I'm going to name you in the 16. And so, but we were confident, and I was confident in my teammates them, and actually, went out there, and in no time, I see we're down 2-0. I'm say 2-0. And this was the game that was going to send us to our first DaCosta Cup Final. And I'm saying, so people were starting to getting all antsy and nervous. I remember one of our principal of account teacher, Mr. Hamilton, he was smoking. He was a chain smoker. He was smoking cigarette like he was going out of style. And I remember Steve Butner, Mr. B, passed by our bench. And I remember vividly, like it was yesterday, he said something like, it seems like some teams have their bad day. Because actually, they didn't want to meet us, at the end of the day. And so, half time, I see all the players coming off and start to cry. Donald, you with the people, Donaldson, Gina blocks, and they coming off the bench, coming off the field and start to cry.
At halftime, what was the score?
We're down 2-0.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I started to cry. I said, Mr. Henry, I want to go on. And he said, no, you're sick, you can't go on. I said, Mr. Henry, I literally started to cry. I said, Mr. Henry, I want to go on. I want to go on the field. And I remember this guy named Humphrey, come and say, Coach, the skipper said, I want to go on. And then we had two doctors at the time, Dr. Lou and a doctor from Africa called Maiswela. And they just give me 2 pills to take, and then they just shoot me up with some injection. And I just hop on the field, and I was just directing traffic because I couldn't actually move on the field, and we end up winning that game 4-2. So that was the first time we did. I'm not sure if you're aware of a style we have. It's called the fire. So it's like every time we score a goal, we'd go like this and start the fire. So we start to see guys like Glasgow Curry Privet and Edward Chinny Campbell, Linton Constewart. All of us used to do the thing called the fire. So that was our trademark from 1983 moving forward. So every single time we score a goal and did that, it seemed like the other opponents start to go underneath their shell. So that was a memorable game for us there in 1983.